Just thinking about I know. I'll be waiting there. Just I know when Ramadan, I'm on. Then they should be waiting there. Also after all the Jumu'ah. Then How's everything going? Good here.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Yeah. No, just one more. You gotta get something really low. I think some people when they go overseas, they get yeah. Oh yeah, you chill it. No, just a couple. They came this. They came tonight. Just a cooler. Did they think that out? I'm gonna take it out. Maybe one of this would smell good too. You know the imam coming today? Can you check his book? Oh, okay. All right, good luck. Sorry.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. صدق الله العظيم. We start off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is deserving of our praise and our gratitude, the creator, the master, the king of this world and the hereafter. We then send peace and blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the final messenger and the Khatam al-Anbiya. We send peace and blessings upon his companions, his family, and those that follow him. In this dunya, in this world, we look around us and we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created many great things. We look at the sun and we see that the sun is very unique, that it gives out light, it gives out heat, it helps our vegetation grow. And then we look at the mountains and we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the mountains very uniquely, because the mountains are so big that Luqman alayhi salatu wasalam tells his son وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرْحًا. Don't walk on the earth with pride. Because there's no way that you can reach the height of the mountain. This is where you are at, and the mountains are so gigantic. We look at the oceans, and the oceans are never ending. For thousands of miles and so many miles deep, and it houses so many different creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We look at the animals that are around us, and some of the animals are much stronger than us, and some of the animals are much faster than us. But yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. No matter how great the sun is, how much light the moon gives off, and how many thousands of stars it might be, and how big the ocean is, and how great of all of my creations there are. O insan, O human, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. You are my prized possession. You are the best of them all. You're better than the sun, you're better than the moon, you're better than all the animals. Everything was created for you, and you were created for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then a day will come where insan will then say to himself that I am untouchable. That I am that creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I will be on this earth and nothing can harm me. No illness will reach me. You know what heart disease is for someone else, diabetes is for somebody else, getting into a car accident is for somebody else, but me, I am here to stay and nothing will come in my way. But then we understand from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that on the final day, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam the command to blow in the horn. And in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that says that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam, immediately He gave Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam this trumpet, this horn, and He said, wait for your turn. And from that moment, Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam, he put the trumpet, the horn to his mouth, and he looked up at the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that any moment now I will give my command and I will blow into this horn. And the hadith says when Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam blows on the first time, the whole world will collapse. And you will see the clouds come down and fall down, and you will see these gigantic mountains go into the skies like cotton. You will see a person who will be walking and he will lose control over his limbs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. He will lose control of his limbs, and his limbs will be walking around, and he will look like he's drunk. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. This person is not drunk. But this person is now just entering into the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this person is going to find out. Now this human being is going to find out. Now this being who thought that he was indestructible, who thought that he was untouchable, will now see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all about. And the Quran says on that day, there will be a lady who will have a child in her stomach, who will be carrying a child, and she will drop her load. A mother's most beloved to her mother is her baby. You can do whatever you want. You can become the biggest criminal in the world, but your mother will still love you. She will still open her arms and give you a hug. You can disrespect her. You can say the meanest things to her. You can even say, Mom, I want nothing to do with you. Today I cut all ties with you. But the moment that you turn back to her, she'll be waiting there. Come to me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on that day, a lady who is carrying her child in her stomach, she will drop her load out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And everything will perish. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, that Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam, once everything is over, Israfil alayhi salatu wa salam will be given the command to blow into the trumpet. And human, man, jinn, animal, will rise from the place of resting, and will come to the Maidan Hashr, the plain of resurrection. And now this part, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam goes into a little bit detail. If you look at the sun right now, the sun is roughly 93 million miles away from us. But on a day like today where it gets a little bit hot, then that small walk from the parking lot to the masjid becomes tough. That we sit in our house, we make sure the AC is on 70 degrees. As soon as we sit in the car, we turn the AC on. As soon as we go into the masjid, we turn the AC on. As soon as we go to work, we make sure it's cool. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the hadith says, on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the sun come down. And the hadith says that it will be roughly a mile away. Another hadith says it will be a hand span away, or arm span away from our heads. And you will see people sweating so profusely, so continuously, non-stop, according to their sins. Another hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that lucky will be the person who finds place to put his feet onto the ground. There will be so many people. He gives the example, it's like a person who packs arrows into his quiver. Make sure that there are so many arrows that it's jam-packed. Why? Because he doesn't know when I'll need one more arrow. He packs it into his quiver. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says this will be your situation on the day of judgment. And people will be sweating, and you will see some people sweating to their ankles. And you will see some people sweating to their knees, and some to their hips, and some to their chest. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says some completely drowning, according to their sins. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us there will be those people that will be resurrected in a state of punishment. Judgment hasn't happened. The book of deeds have not even been opened yet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not came down from the arsh to do our hisab yet, but these people will be punished as soon as they stand up from their graves. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us, you'll see that person whose tongue will be hanging out of his mouth. Then it will be split into two, and this will be the person whose two-faced will be. You'll see that person who will be the size of an ant. The size of an ant, and this person will be worrying that I'm going to be crumbled at any moment. People are going to trample him. And this will be the person who oppresses people in his dunya. But then while all of this is happening, the sun being brought down, and the sun being cranked up 99 times hotter than it is in this world, where people will not have space, where some people will be sweating, drowning in their own sweat, and some people will be punished. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us, on that day, there will be these elite few, these special few people. That people will be in chaos, but these people will be completely chilling. And they will be chilling under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he tells us that these are 7 groups of people. These people won't have to worry about the sun. They won't have to worry about space. They won't have to worry about punishment. They won't have to worry about, drowning in their own sweat. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us, first amongst this group of people is that just ruler. Is that ruler who is just. Now, if you look at this, a person might say, Imam and Adil, it only has to do with imams, or it only has to do with presidents, or it only has to do with leaders. But we look at the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Ala kullukum ra'in, wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati." That each of you is a shepherd. Each of you is a leader. If you are the person, the head of the house, then you are a leader. If you are the wife of the house, then you are the leader amongst your children. If you are in the position at work where you are a manager, then you are a leader. As long as you are just, as long as you do not play favorites, as long as you do not give preference over a person based on their background, that you, my friend, you're Pakistani, I'm going to give you preference. You're a man, I'm going to give you preference. You're a lady, you have to go all the way to the back. But the person is completely just. This is a quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Adl, the most just. And these just people, not only will they be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in other hadith tells us more about these people. So on that day of judgment, that these just people will be given a pulpit of nur, of light. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in another hadith says that there are 3 du'as that have no barrier between the person who says the dua and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first of these 3 people are a just ruler. Then the Prophet ﷺ carries on and tells us about the second group. He says, Shabun, a young person is youth. A person who still is healthy. A person who still has all the opportunities to sin in the world. There are forces that are pulling him towards sinning. Every turn this person takes in the world, there's a sin right in his face. There are temptations all over. Sinning becomes so easy for this person, but this youth, he spends his youth, this youngster, he spends his youth, في ibadillah, in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran tells us, أَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ. As for that person who receives his book of deeds in the right hand, فَيَقُولُ هَاؤُمُ اقْرَءُوا كِتَابِيَهْ. He will say, look, read my book of deeds. إِنِّي ظَنَنْتُ أَنِّي مُلَاقٍ حِسَابِيَهْ. The reason why I got my book of deeds in my right hand, because I knew I would meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's face. And that's why I spent my youth in a certain way. All of my friends were going out to do haram, I said no. All of my friends were making excuses to miss salah, and I said no. All of my friends said, you know what, I'm busy at school, I can't come for Jumu'ah, and I said no. Shabun, that youngster, who spends his youth where he is accessible to sin. You know, sometimes the other people, even if they try to sin, it's not easy for them. Those doors, those days are over. But this youngster, he has the opportunity non-stop. Everything is pulling him, but he spends his youth in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we understand this from another hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, on the day of judgment, mankind will not be able to leave their space until they answer the questions. And from these questions are your youth and how did you spend it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this prime age. He gave you strength. He gave you good health. How did you spend it? In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us, إِغْتَنِمْ خَمْسًا قَبْلَ خَمْسٍ. Value 5 things before 5. And one of these 5 things is value your youth before you become old. Sit down with your parents. Sit down with your grandparents. And they will tell you, back in our days, I used to be able to do this, and I used to be able to do that. Doing this was so easy, but now I need help. You're sitting with your grandparents and they call you, can you help me with this small chore? Can you help me with this small task? Why? Because in my day, I used to be able to do it. But now my youth is gone. Rasulullah says, value your youth before you become old. And on the day of judgment, and then under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be that youth who connected himself, who completely used his youth in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, the third group of people who will be in the throne, who will be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be that person whose heart is connected to the masjid. So as we go through this list, we should be thinking that, where do I fall into? Can I slip into any of these? Right? Am I a just ruler at home? Did I spend my youth, or am I in my young age, and am I spending my youth correctly? Or number 3, that man whose heart is connected to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if you look at this hadith, the words, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he doesn't say that person who's always in the masjid, that person who lives in the masjid, that person that does itikaf in the masjid. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that his heart is connected, his heart is attached to the masjid, that sometimes he only gives time to pray his salah. He comes for Isha, and then he has to leave, but his heart is into the masjid that I wish I can go back. I can't wait to go back to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so unique. These masajid are so important. Where a person will find sakina and sukoon and contentment in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can go door to door, turning to people with hope, but their help for you will fall short. So when you come into the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never. In the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where your head goes down. In the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where your eyes begin to cry. In the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where you begin to read the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is where you raise your hand and you call unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, I am in need of your mercy. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us the third group is those people whose hearts are connected to the masjid, they can't wait to go back. Even though they're not there all the time, but whenever they're there, they're at peace. They're in the right space. They're where they should be. And then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us, the fourth group of people who will be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be those two people who love just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they meet for that purpose and they disperse for that purpose. There is no other attachment. It's not that this person is rich, that's why I love him. Or this person is good looking, that's why I love him. Or this person is known in the community, that's why I love him. But I love this person just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because when I'm with that person, he reminds me of Allah. He reminds me of my religion. He tells me that we have to pray our salah. He reminds me that I have to do good deeds. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that these two people will be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was a sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would tell his companions that I love you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-hubbu fillah wal-bughdu fillah. And then hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that you will not taste the sweetness of Iman until you learn to love others just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forget about anything, any other quality that they have, but just the fact that they love them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us the fifth group is that person who is called towards haram by a lady who is beautiful, a lady of good stature. And he has the opportunity of doing haram. He has the opportunity of committing zina, but he says, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's there in front of him. All he has to do is say yes, and he can commit haram. He can fulfill the desires of his body, but he says, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us, whoever can guarantee me that which is between their jaws and that which is between their thighs, then I guarantee that person Jannah. Control your tongue and control your desires. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, I will guarantee you Jannah. You, my friend, are going to Jannah. And then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, the sixth group of people are those people who give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who give charity. Fundraiser comes, a donation appeal comes, we're building a masjid, or help us sponsor orphans, or we're from an institute of knowledge, give. And this person gives in a very unique way. This person gives extremely discreet, where nobody else finds out. The point that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that he gives with his right hand and his left hand does not even know. He gives with his right hand, and even his left hand does not even know. But nobody has to find out. Sometimes we give openly to encourage others. By me giving sadaqah and people knowing, maybe they might give as well. But then also a person has to balance it where he does it quietly, where he does it alone and nobody else knows. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if you fall under this group of people, then you will be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the final group, the seventh group, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, that person who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and his eyes begin to cry. Tears begin to flow down the eyes. Now the key word in this part is not tears, but the key word is alone. You know, it's very easy to cry when there's ijtimai dua, when people are making dua together, or when you're in salah and there are people around you. If I cry, other people will know how pious I am. If I cry, my eyes are red, then people will know how God-fearing I am. how much I'm connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that that person who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all, not in front of the community, not in front of his family, not in front of his wife. This person leaves his bed in the middle of the night. The Aisha says that I woke up one night and I looked at the bed and I saw the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wasn't there. I got worried. Where is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? I left my house and I went to Jannah al-Baqi and I heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam there, all alone. Nobody else was there. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was standing there crying. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that person who cries in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where there's nobody around him, and that's the time where this person is completely sincere to Allah. There is no other reason why his eyes begin to fall, except for the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In one hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that there are two drops of liquid that are most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First is that drop that flows from a person's eyes when he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second is that drop of blood that is shed in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Huzaifa bin Yaman. Huzaifa bin Yaman was sahib al-sir, the person who kept the secrets of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would tell his secrets to Huzaifa bin Yaman. And Huzaifa bin Yaman was given a list of all the hypocrites in Medina. This person is a hypocrite, this person is a hypocrite. The Prophet ﷺ already knew that these people expose themselves, they present themselves that we are Muslims, but in their heart they have no Islam at all, in their heart they have no Iman at all. And Huzaifa bin Yaman, he had this list. A Sahabi came to Huzaifa bin Yaman and said, Huzaifa, tell me, I'm worried, is my name somehow on that list? Am I a hypocrite? The Sahaba al-Ajma'in, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they were never comfortable in their Iman. They were never content with their Iman. They were always worried. Am I a hypocrite? Is my Iman actually short? Truth is, you and I, we pray 5 salahs in one day and we think that we're the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very famous hadith of Hanzala. The Hanzala, he was sitting with his family at home and he was playing with them. And all of a sudden he began to remember that, wait, when I'm with the Prophet ﷺ, I'm extremely serious. But now that I'm with my family, I'm laughing, I'm joking. Am I two-faced? Am I a hypocrite? Do I live a double life? So he leaves his house and he says, Nafaqtu Hanzala, Nafaqtu Hanzala. The Hanzala has become munafiq. He meets Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr Siddiq, the greatest man after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That time. The best after the Prophet. The one who took the khilafah of the Muslim, who took control of the Muslim ummah after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. Abu Bakr asked Hanzala, what are you saying? He said, this is my situation. Abu Bakr says, you know what? I'm the same as well. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. Abu Bakr says, Abu Bakr has become munafiq. Abu Bakr has become munafiq. Then Umar stopped him. What are you two doing? You guys need to stop this. He says, look, this is our situation. That when we went to Prophet ﷺ, we were very serious. We were very so much immersed in our religion. When he talks about Jannah, when he talks about Jahannam, when he talks about the Day of Judgment, when he talks about the Quran, when he tells us lessons, we're very serious. But when we're with our family, we're laughing and we're joking. Umar says, I'm the same as well. I'm the same. Where Rasulullah sallallahu about Umar, he says, لو كان نبي بعدي لكان عمر. If there were to be a prophet after me, it would be Umar. And Rasulullah sallallahu in another hadith, he said that when Umar takes a path, if shaitan is on that path, shaitan turns around, makes a U-turn and leaves. He takes a different path. He doesn't want to walk on the same path as Umar. But here Umar he says, I'm in the same situation. But let's go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam hears them out and says that this is what Iman is. Sometimes your Iman will be at a high and sometimes your Iman will be at a low. It will dip up and down. It will dip up and down. Sometimes you remember Allah and you become very serious. Other times your Iman will be at a low. But we see the companions who never content with Iman. This companion comes to Huzaifa bin Yaman. And he asks Huzaifa, tell me, is my name on that list? Huzaifa was instead of saying yes or no, instead of clearly saying that your name is not on this list, he asks 2 questions. He goes, if you answer these 2 questions, then trust me, your name is not on this list. But if you can't say yes to these 2 questions, then your name just might be on this list. The first of these 2 questions is, do you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are alone? Do you turn to Allah when you're alone? He says, yes. I worship Allah when I'm all alone, when nobody can see me. The lights are off, my family is asleep, my kids are in their bed, I'm not the masjid, I'm all alone at home. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, this is our situation with sinning. We usually sin like this. We sin when we're all alone, but here he says, do you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're alone? He says, yes, I do. The second thing, do you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after you commit a sin? It doesn't say, do you stay away from sin, or do you never sin at all? The hadith says, do you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after you sin? Why? Because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمَ خَطَّاءٌ. Every child of Adam sins. That's the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have given human beings the capability of doing good and doing bad. وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّاءُونَ التَّوَّابُونَ. But the best of the sinners are the ones who repent back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After you sin, you turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that التائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له. A person who repents from a sin is as if there was no sin there at all. Completely wiped off. So Huzaifa bin Yaman says, if you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are alone, and you repent back to Allah as soon as you sin, then trust me, your name is not on this list. So these 7 groups of people, the just ruler, the youth whose heart is connected, the youth who spends his young age in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the man whose heart is connected to the masjid, the person who gets called towards haram, but he says, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person who gives with his right hand and his left hand does not know, those 2 people who love for the sake of Allah and they come together for that same reason and they leave for that same reason, and finding that person who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all alone and his eyes begin to cry, these 7 people on the day of judgment will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the Anbiya alayhi salatu wa salam, with the righteous people, with the companions. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a place under that stone, under a stone. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask for your infinite mercy. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you help the Muslim Ummah. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you help the Muslims wherever they may be. Oh Allah, we ask that you help the Muslims in Syria. Oh Allah, we ask that you help the Muslims in Palestine. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you help the Muslims in Burma. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in any corner of the world, wherever there are Muslims that are being tested. Oh Allah, there are so many different countries where Muslims are being tested, we ask that you help them. Oh Allah, we ask that you help the Muslims here in America. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you give us the shade of your throne on the day that there is no other shade. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you give us our book of deeds in our right hand. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that when you resurrect us from our graves, that you are pleased with us. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask that you, when you call us to death, that you call us when our imans are at a complete height. Oh Allah, bless our families. Oh Allah, bless our friends. Oh Allah, bless our community. Oh Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there's anybody in this community that's going through any type of difficulty, whether it be financial, whether it be with health, whether it be any type of difficulty within their families, we ask that you remove those difficulties and that you give ease to the Muslims in this community, that you give ease to the Muslims in America, that you give ease to the Muslims all across the world. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wa aqim as-salat.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
If I can have all the brothers kind of shift towards my left. That way, if there are other brothers coming in, they have some space on the right. So if you can just slide over to your left, so we have space on the right for people that come in. So, Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إنا أردنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Jazakallah Sheikh for the great khutbah. We really appreciate you coming again. We have a couple of announcements to make today. We have about 5. So we have completed the interview for the part-time imam. And inshallah, in the coming week, we should be able to tell you who the person will be. And we have the Dalat Ijma 11 by July 5th, July 7th at the Urban Masjid. And also we have, it was tonight, the lecture will be continuity after Ramadan. And the time will be 8:30 p.m. to Isha. And so there will be refreshments, so please bring your family, your whole family, and everything will be here for you. And the Sunday school program is also expected to launch next week, July 7th. And we have parent orientation and volunteer meeting to announce in the coming days. And we have a professional course. It started last week, but it's still early. You can still join if you were not able to make it. And we are also looking for people who will also volunteer to, give or share talent in the community. Whatever you know that can help other people professionally, you can, give your name to Brother Yusuf, and we can coordinate and organize at the time or the day that you can also help our brothers and sisters. Jazakallah khair. Thank you.